Hey, Miss Brown's class. So we're going to continue doing exponents this week, and we're going to get a little bit more in detail with how they work. So last week we talked about exponents doing certain things, like if it says 5 to the third power, that meant that we had to write it as 5 being multiplied by itself 3 different times, not 5 times 3, but 3 different 5s, right? So 5 times 5 times 5 would give us 125. Now, the new part that we're adding in this week is that we can have negative exponents. And now the strange thing about negative exponents is that they don't make the number negative. If I'm raising 5 to the negative third power, what I'm actually doing is I'm just saying what's 1 over 5 times 5 times 5. Okay? So when I'm working with exponents, basically I'm looking at a number and that number is growing at a really, really rapid pace. Okay? If it's to a negative power, you can think about that number as shrinking really rapidly. Okay, so now this number would be equal to 1 over 125. Okay? If you're using your calculator for this, you could say 5 times 5 times 5. That'll get you to 125. As far as doing the negative exponents, I would just do it as a positive, figure out what 5 to the third power is, and then put it in the denominator of a fraction. 1 is always going to be the numerator. Do not make up a new numerator. 1 will always be the top. Okay? We can try that with a few other numbers as well. Okay? If you wanted to have 8 to the second power, that would be what's 8 times 8, because I'm multiplying that 8 twice. So 8 times 8 is equal to 64. Okay? Whereas if I said 8 to the negative second power, that would mean what's 1 over 8 times 8. Okay, so it's not a negative number, it's just a super, super tiny number. Okay, so if you know anyone who's working in the construction business or something like that, they may be working with measurements like this, okay? On your ruler, you'll see a 1/4 of an inch, an 1/8 of an inch, maybe a 1/16 of an inch, but yes, it can go down even to 1/32 or 1/64 of an inch, okay? These are possible measurements, and if they're off when measuring something that you're building, you don't want that for your house. So these types of measurements do matter, and it all comes down to precision and how exact you want things to be built, okay? Also, if you're in middle school and you're getting your braces done, trust me, your teeth being off by 1/64 of an inch, it shows, okay? We've all been there. My teeth are still there, so I get it. Okay, now aside from these rules that we talked about last week, let's get into some new stuff. Okay, you guys are going to be presented with some problems that look like this. These numbers here, the large numbers, are called bases. Okay, and then these numbers up top, these are called the exponent. I think you already know that part. Now, when you're multiplying and you have the same base, you can leave it, you can combine them. We're gonna leave the base as 4, okay? But now, see, since I have this multiplication sign here, this is weird. We have a rule with our exponents where we can take those 2 exponents up top and we can add them. So 2 plus 6 is 8. So we would say, what's 4 to the 8th power? And you're probably looking at me and thinking, what on earth is Miss Brown saying? That's cool, no worries. Okay, in your calculator, you can check what I'm saying. 4 squared, you should know this one. 4 times 4, 16. 4 to the 6th power, I do not expect you to know that, okay? So, in your calculator, you have a couple options of how to do this. You can say 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, do that so on and so forth 6 different times. Or you have a function on your calculator. You would hit the 4. Then you have this button that says YX. And then you would hit 6 because 6 is the exponent you have. and you would get 4,096, which is the same answer you would get if you had done 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Okay, same answers. Now, what this is saying is if we multiplied 16 times 4,096, would that be the same as this expression 4 to the 8th power? So let's check. So 4,096 times 16 is equal to, supermassive number, 65,536, okay? Saving that. Now let's go ahead and see what 4 to the 8th power is. So remember, 4 is my y to the x power, 8, because 8 is the power I got from adding 2 plus 6. And look, it's that same 65,036. So learning this rule about being able to add exponents is a shortcut for you, okay? So you don't have to go through the process of solving this 16, solving this 4,096, and then multiplying the two together, okay? I'm trying to make it easier on you because I have full confidence in your ability to add 2 plus 6 in your head, and then you only have to enter one thing in your calculator, okay? So this is a way for us to try to save you time. Let's do another practice run of those because I know that they are funky. This only works when the numbers have the same base. Okay, so if I have 3 squared times 3 cubed, or 3 to the 3rd power. So the bases are the same, okay? If this was a 3 and that was a 4, are they on different bases? It would not work, okay? But since the bases are both 3's, it can work. So I'm going to add exponents. So add exponents. So what's 2 plus 3? So I keep my base the same of 3, and I add my 2 plus 3, which is 5. So I say, what is 3 to the 5th power? So in my calculator, I only have one step. I say 3yx button to the 5th power, and I get 243. If you have a very simple calculator and you don't have these features, you could still do this by saying 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And you'll still get 243 as long as you multiply that 5 different times, okay? So either way it'll work, but this YX button will save you some time.